DJ Craftmatic, and this is Paulie Dubz, or that's
Hey.
Paulie Dubz. What's happening? That's my brother right there.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Antidote.
Yeah, welcome back. We back again. This is a lot of episodes we've been putting up, man.
We don't stop.
We don't stop.
It's a lot of bullshit.
Can't stop, won't stop. Take that.
Too much bullshit out there. We got to try to keep up. We can't even keep up with the bullshit as much as
Real,
we now.
That's real shit though. We've been firing off these episodes and we still got more to go, so y'all stay tuned. And matter of fact, we got to talk about this topic. This is a pretty hot one, at least in our book. Is definitely something that we've been seeing in the works for the last couple of years, but it finally went through late last week. We are talking about the merger between Disney and Fox. Very big implications when it comes to, I know for the cinematic movie fans, this is huge for them. They feel like this is a huge win because now everything is pretty much back under the Marvel umbrella, which is currently owned by Disney. And, Walt Disney's brand and label owns all of that. So now they basically get all of the MCU, the Marvel comic universe. They get all of it back. So that's very, very big. And definitely when it comes to like these movies, X-Men and such, that's going to definitely be something huge. But it also means that Disney owns the Fox networks as well. So we're talking Fox News and things like that. Paulie, how do you see this kind of shaking up shit for the when we look at media? Because now it seems like everything is kind of under three umbrellas pretty much, and that really means that all of your news and everything else is going to be filtered through the same people.
Yeah, so just to clarify, Disney does not own Fox News. So
My bad.
Fox News, Fox Sports, Fox Business, and Fox Fox Network TV that plays football on Sundays with Joe Buck, that Fox channel, that all stays with Fox. That's all Fox is keeping. That's basically just a small piece of the pie. Rupert Murdoch sold out the rest to Disney. Disney did get from the deal at like FX channel, obviously 21st Century Fox movie studios. They end up being the majority owners of Hulu. They're about to come out with their own streaming service later this year, Disney Plus. It's a $71 billion deal they bought Fox for.
Yeah, man, that's huge.
$71 billion.
So think about that number, man. $71 billion, dog. And they're about to make all that shit back easy anyway when it comes to these movies and all the rights and everything that they own for Marvel. Just alone. That name,
look at the X-Men.
That small, look at the X-Men, look at the Avengers, everything, just those little small pieces of or what we think is small make so much fucking money because they can actually go out there and market the shit out of it, and they get all that money back.
Yeah, so they're about to come out with their own streaming service, so they need their own content to put on the streaming service because, if you don't have to license anything, the better it's going to be for them. And off the top, ESPN, they own that, and they just made a big deal with the UFC as well,
right?
To air all pay-per-views just on ESPN's Plus streaming service,
right? And then you got to think of all the movies that are out there that are under the Marvel umbrella. They can pretty much yank that off of everything, Netflix and everything like that, and they're going to just strictly put it on Hulu. I mean, they could definitely do that. They can definitely do that.
Or their own Disney Plus service that's going to come out.
Yeah, plus the Disney Plus service, which would still kind of go under that umbrella. I mean, if they wanted to do it that way, they could, just because that is a Disney product. Disney, Marvel is all the same pretty much in a sense at this point.
They got Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about Star Wars. Shit.
They got Pixar.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all, billion-dollar industries in their own.
Yeah.
And now they're adding 21st Century and the Fox into the mix. They own everything now from Mickey Mouse to Bart Simpson.
Yeah, pretty much. Damn. Yeah, they really covered the span in this one. And this is just huge because this is almost starting to become a monopoly when it comes to the movie industry, things like that. There's always the other, movie makers, Millennium Films and all these other ones that are out there. Lionsgate and such. There's so many of them out there, but none of them are on the level of when you're talking Marvel, Disney, Fox Studios, when you're talking about those are huge, just huge. They have huge followers, a bunch of shows that come along with that are now under that Fox umbrella. That's Bob's Burgers, just like you said, from Mickey Mouse to Bart Simpson, that covers everything. And they get all the rights and they get all the money for all that. So, dang, they really are monopolizing the game when it comes to the movies and TV production and such in that field. So, man, where nobody can really compete when it comes to that. So Disney has definitely leveled up, and they're going to be fighting the markets and pretty much monopolizing the markets. Everybody else is going to be fighting to try to get some kind of money out of it.
Yeah, and I mean, these other companies are still pretty big, so it consolidates everything even down further. Like you were saying, there's just, a couple of companies that control almost everything. So it's saying as of 2017, 90% of all media was controlled by 5 companies by 2017. At this point, Fox becomes a non-player in that conversation because all they'll have is Fox News and Fox TV, and nobody's going to give a shit about either of those compared to these other conglomerates. So Comcast is the largest company. And obviously everyone knows what Comcast is. They're the worst, shittiest service provider in the world for any.
Except for that internet, bro. Except for that internet. You can't hate on that Comcast internet, because I know when I had CenturyLink, that shit was shit.
Oh, yeah.
The worst internet, that CenturyLink is probably up there.
Bro, but the Comcast internet is the same internet they had 15 years ago. I know they could have come out with some better shit by now. They hold it back.
Well, that means everybody else is coming up with even worse shit then, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but on top of that, so think about that. So, either you're getting cable TV, which you have to go through Comcast, because I think them and Spectrum
pretty much
are 2 players in the game in the nation. And on top of that, they control a bunch of the channels and studios, the content you have to get through them. And if you don't have cable, you're streaming shit off of the internet, and you're getting your internet from Comcast. So either they're the gatekeeper to you getting the technology onto your TV in the first place. Then on top of it, they own NBC Universal, USA Network, Bravo, CNBC, MSNBC, the Sci-Fi Channel, Golf Channel, E! Entertainment. They own the Philadelphia Flyers. They own DreamWorks Animation Studios, Universal Pictures. So they're the biggest player in the game. Because, I mean, if all you watch is Netflix, you still get the internet from Comcast to be able to watch the Netflix.
I need CenturyLink or somebody else to step the fuck up. Because,
And then the other big so that's Disney's probably biggest competitor is going to be Comcast.
Absolutely.
And obviously Disney can't, start providing their own internet service to everybody. So what they're going to do is come out with their own streaming service to go after Netflix and just buy up all the content so that they don't have any licensing costs and straight profit off of all the streaming subscriptions that they sell.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. That when you think about movies in general and content, Disney steadily creates massive movies that appeal to many generations and many viewers and things like that. Most of their movies are in merchandise. Exactly. Most of their movies are in the $1 billion, past of how much they've made. When it comes down, I remember coming up and I still got them. All the VHSs from fucking when I was a kid, all the VHSs and things like that.
Little Mermaid.
Yeah, Lion King, all of it, all the above. And since now Disney owns that, that's what they're doing anyway, is now they're just re-pushing it back out. And that's probably what's going to happen with this. They already have some type of light streaming service that's not as in-depth, but they have like a lot of the movies, especially the older ones from like the 90s and shit like that. They got a lot of those on there, but it's not to the extent of what they're trying to do, and that is to be a direct competitor with Netflix.
Yeah, and I'm hearing by November, December of this year, that service should be in place, and makes sense why they're investing in all of Fox's content on top of it.
Exactly.
Another big company out there that's going to be the other big competitor in town is AT&T, who has been kind of rapidly getting into this game. So AT&T, they also they own DirecTV and Uverse on top of their own internet provider service, or telephone service in the U.S. as well.
Right, mobile carrier.
Yeah, and they just bought Time Warner just in the past couple of months, and that deal kind of went under the table a little bit because they now own Warner Media, which owns CNN, HBO, Cinemax, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, NBA TV, TBS, TNT, Turner Classic Movies, and
Yep.
DC Comics, Warner Brothers Interactive. The other end of the spectrum there, they own AT&T, the cell phone company, as well as Cricket Wireless as well. So they're another big player in town.
Oh,
Obviously,
shit, I didn't know they had cricket in there, too.
yeah, so obviously not to the level of Comcast or Walt Disney, but they're at that next level above Fox, and probably competing with Viacom, who was, the first big conglomerate, but now they've been surpassed by everybody else lately.
Right. I remember when we were talking about it, I thought Viacom was still the biggest, and they've been passed up pretty quick. Viacom used to be the biggest. They used to own all that stuff, your MTV and all that shit. But damn, they even got the hood services. They really making some money when you pick up a Cricket, because Cricket is all over the place, and that's the hood service.
Hey, and you need a credit check to pass AT&T, but if you don't, then you can get this Cricket phone.
You get the same service, but just on that Cricket phone, bro. That's definitely the hood providers. I remember when Cricket first hit Colorado, and everybody was on it because it was so damn cheap. You could get like all the internet, everything like that for $50 a month. Except for them phones were janky as hell, and everybody just thought it was like, oh, it's an Android phone. I'd be like, I don't give a damn. You got like the C+ version of the Android. So, and I remember all them people getting popped and shit on AT&T, and so that just trickled down to Cricket too. That's crazy, man. Damn, they really do own a lot, and Warner, obviously, we're talking about Warner Brothers, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking, the Warner Brothers. We're talking Looney Tunes type shit.
Yeah.
Like these guys are pretty big, man. Bugs Bunny and all that shit. That all is owned now by AT&T. Wow, yeah, they really came into the game, and they're trying to monopolize it too. But I know that they are also trying to make even bigger moves in the mobile market as well. And if they start even monopolizing that, I mean, we already hear about the T-Mobile trying to take over, Sprint, doing that as far as a merger. I know AT&T was looking at a bid for T-Mobile as well, but I think because they are in the same kind of service as far as using you have to use the little chip or whatever. That's slipping off the top of my head, but Sprint is a CD
SIM card.
Yeah, SIM card. There you go. Sprint is a CDMA. Still using CDMA, which is like really old ass technology, and then AT&T, T-Mobile use basically the same towers. So it's AT&T could definitely be on top very soon, especially with something like Warner under its umbrella.
Yeah, definitely. And another big competitor that we're not even bringing up on the other end of everything is Netflix. Like, they have the most subscribers, I believe, for any service in the world. They have over 130 million subscribers worldwide.
Yeah. I think I saw somewhere around like 146 or something like that.
146 million every month, paying $14 a month, yo.
Right. I think they're worth $165 billion is where I seen their estimation of the business of Netflix. So think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Netflix is combined more than Viacom, AT&T, and Comcast.
Wow.
So the net worth that we're talking about is just ridiculous. And actually, let me take that back, because Comcast is actually worth about $80 billion. If you add, but even if you still add AT&T and Comcast together, it's right about the same. So it doesn't even matter. That just shows you how big the streaming game is and why everybody wants to get into it. And especially with now Hulu being a part of, that umbrella when it comes to Fox and Disney and everything else, that's very big. That's a very big player in that game, because that's going to be a lot of funds that are coming in, and they see it. They already saw it when Netflix took off, and they're looking at it and they're like, oh shit, Netflix has this much money, and they did it in how quick a time. Think about when Netflix started. I think Netflix is not even a decade old yet, and they already have amassed that much amount of money in net worth. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, and at first they were just doing DVDs by mail, and their streaming service just blew up. I mean, they made the first kind of worldwide subscription product.
Right. I forgot that they were doing a DVD by. I forgot about that
Yeah.
shit.
So they, them combined with Redbox kind of took Blockbuster out of business. I think Netflix even like offered Blockbuster to buy them out at one point.
Right.
Like, and Blockbuster said no, and Blockbuster, rest in peace. I think there's one in Oregon somewhere. I read an article, but
Yeah, there's one more store left. Still in the. I was like, damn, they really got a store left. That must be like the OG store or
they
something
got
like.
like new releases and shit.
Yeah.
You can
And
go
then they
rent
took out
Aquaman.
Hollywood Video too. You remember Hollywood Video?
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. The streaming game came around and fucked up everything.
Yeah, so
Because the internet and Comcast, basically, Comcast running the world with that internet
mhm.
shit. Um, it's basically done it for everything because now, I mean, when you look at where we're at, the Redbox is the closest that you're going to get as far as for physical things. But now you can even download video games and shit. Now that you can rent video games and don't even have to leave your house.
Mm-mm.
And speaking of that, I mean, we had heard obviously that Google is trying to do just a streaming service as well, based just with video games, and you can download, buy, rent, whatever the games strictly on a system, and that's it. You don't have to buy a game, you don't have to do any of that. So as you can see, the streaming is like the future of the game, and so all of these companies are trying to get on top of it and try to see if they can one up the Netflix, because Netflix is obviously the wave of what everybody is watching right now.
Yeah, and obviously, the Walt Disney Company has a great attacking point at it because they can hit it 3 times. So
Right.
obviously they're pushing it with ESPN Plus. Like we mentioned, you can now only buy UFC pay-per-views if you're an ESPN Plus subscriber,
Right.
and that's a $5 a month service. You can watch games for free, and ESPN's entire 30 for 30 library, things like that, are available on that ESPN Plus.
Yeah, the Premier Boxing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can watch the Premier Boxing. They got the Detail show where Kobe Bryant and Peyton Manning break down film
Yep.
of modern day games, and so they also have UFC fights. I think they've already had like 6 UFC cards that were exclusively on ESPN Plus too. So
Yep.
they're going to own the biggest sports streaming service if it's not already. It's going to be. It's probably one of the only sports streaming services out there like that.
Yeah, there's that one that Canelo signed to. Yeah,
the fighting one, DAZN.
yeah, that's like the only one that's like trying to compete. But even then, it's going to be a while before they are actual contenders. I mean, we're talking ESPN here.
Yeah, so they got ESPN has rights to NFL football, NBA basketball, everything, all kinds of golf,
MLS, MLB,
MLS. Yeah, they got the rights to everything, UFC rights, Premier Boxing, things like that. So they also own Hulu now. As we said, they're the majority owner of Hulu, thanks to buying out Fox and the Fox deal. So that could be the service for streaming television programming for them. And then when they come out with this Disney product later this year, that'll just flood the gates open, because they're on top of that, they're also quickly coming out with a bunch of content to be ready for that streaming service when it launches. So they've got
shows, series, and stuff like that.
But they've got there's 3 Marvel movies coming out this year.
Right.
Captain Marvel that already dropped. There's like 3 live action remakes coming out this year, including The Lion King, Dumbo, and Aladdin. And they got, I think, Frozen 2's coming out this year. So they've got big
Toy Story 4.
Toy Story 4, yep.
They're about to smash. And I was just thinking about this right now. What if they decided that instead of maybe, and I know movie theaters is a big deal, but movie theaters are even starting to somewhat dissipate. Like, as far as like, yeah, everybody goes to the movies. We know that we go to the movies is one of the things, but you can go stream it at home. And why wouldn't you want to do that at the comfort of your home? I bet you, and this is just something speculating, but I bet you that in the future they will do certain releases just via the Disney Plus app, or the service. And if you're a paying customer, you might get an early view of a movie. You might get the early drop before it hits the DVDs, before it goes to DVD. I know that's going to happen. I mean, that's a
Right.
no brainer when it comes to that part.
Charge $10 to watch it once, like when it comes
Yeah.
in theaters.
Yep, exactly. Charge like $10. You can watch it from the comfort of your home, and instead of going to the movies, and that's the same thing. They're raking in all of that money. Because when you buy,
cutting out all the middlemen.
yeah, you're cutting out the minimum because you don't have to pay. You're not paying the theaters anymore to have your movies in there, or the cut of the ticket itself is certain amount goes back to the movie theaters or whatever. They get 100% of that profit, regardless of how many tickets that they're spending. They know that they can get more people who will just stay at home and stream it. That's going to be the wave. I know it is. We're calling it right here, right now on the Antidote.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, and within the next 2-3 years, if not even this year when they do launch it, that's how it's going to go down.
Well, they're kind of laying the groundwork for that with this ESPN plus UFC deal. So the only way you can get a UFC pay-per-view would be to get ESPN plus subscription. Then you can order the pay-per-view for $50.
Right.
You already need the subscription for the $5 a month. Now you need to pay $50 if you want the UFC pay-per-view. Which I don't get why UFC is doing that. I don't understand their angle of it. They can just come put it on their own Fight Pass streaming service, but obviously they don't understand.
Yeah, I don't think Dana White understands, and I don't know if their people understands, but I do see it as smart because it's still growing. Like, even though that we know how big UFC is, it's still more of an American thing. So for them to get the span and reach that they need, you need somebody big like that. And this is not a long-term forever deal with UFC and Disney and things like that.
7-year deal.
Right. In the next 7 years, I can already see it's going to be monumental. Then when they're going to come back and try to refigure and redo, Disney's going to want to redo a deal, things like that, try to even buy them out. They'll probably try to buy them out by that time because they'll have so much money sitting around.
They'll have to buy them.
Yeah. They'll just buy out the whole entire thing and just say, hey, we'll buy it out for $10 billion. Boom. I think that's going to be the end story at the end of the 7 years. But I think that in this timeline, that's actually going to help them grow just because they have the platform now. UFC, you would hear about it on pay-per-view. You would be able to catch maybe a couple undercards, but now you can catch everything at one glimpse at one time, and you don't have to wait for shit. You're watching it all at once, and you know how many cards they have. They have one major card pretty much every month.
Every week at this rate. Since this ESPN deal has started, there's been, I'd say, at least 8 out of 10 weeks there's been a card.
Yeah, and major cards too,
yes.
Like tons of viewers, things like that. Yeah, title fights, and it's the same thing with what they're doing with the boxing. When you look at Top Rank Boxing and everything like that, they're having top fights on there. Shit, there was one on there just last week. So they're definitely monopolizing that game.
Please subscribe. Please leave us a 5-star review. TakeTheAntidote.com.